In the previous video, the protagonist and Mile Mang begin to get closer lovingly, and a passionate kiss takes place. However, the man then disappeared, and we know that his friend God is involved in this. Dong Jiyoung runs to her apartment to see if Mile Mang or her house will be there, but everything disappears and returns to the way it was before he appeared in her life. The next day at work, the protagonist is distracted thinking about what happened, and when she is told that the office CEO wants to see her, she imagines that it could be another prank by Mile Mang. However, she is surprised when she enters the room and discovers that it is actually the real CEO. The man asks her to organize a dinner at a restaurant to celebrate her return. And when she leaves, she receives another surprise that young writer appears to have had a private meeting with Dong Jiyoung. He tells him that he will continue his work, albeit anonymously, as the people who became his fans in the acting competition he is participating in cannot know. When asked why the boy decides to continue writing, he responds that it is because of a man who always appears in his dreams, saying that if he doesn't finish writing, something will happen to him. The protagonist knows that it is Mile Mang, however she does not understand why he disappeared. We now see Mile Mang. He goes back in time to the day Dong Jiyoung lost his job because the bus had a flat tire. Then his friend God shows him several sequences of bad things that happened in the girl's life and tells him that everything is because of man's fault. The girl did this so that Mile Mang remembers the purpose of her existence and thinks it's a joke that the man believes that Dong Jiyoung will love him. She blames the tumor on her too. When she is going home, the protagonist meets him on the way and Mile Mang gives her a ride. The woman asks him questions, such as where he went and why he disappeared, but it is difficult to explain, as it was not his choice or decision for this to happen. She asks Mile Mang to take her to the entrance of the man's house, so Dong Jiyoung knows where he lives, so when it happens again, she will know where to look for him. The man takes her to the place, but tells her to stop living together and just keep the initial agreement, without involvement. When the protagonist takes a step to get closer to him, she is transferred to her apartment. Sun Jiyoung, at his work, catches his boss admiring a photo of a woman and asks about the man, tells him everything, including how his best friend helped him when he was younger. He didn't have the courage to break up with the girl, so his friend typed, and they just didn't see each other anymore. Sung Jiyoung thought the story of an acquaintance of hers was similar. The boy also broke up with her via text message, and every time she drinks too much, she says she's going to make him pay for it. His boss takes him to the house he is currently living in, which actually belongs to Mr. Cha, and Sun Jiyoung recognizes him as soon as he enters the place. However, it turns out that the people at the company don't know that Mr. Cha comes from a family that has a lot of money and that they even own the building, so the man asks the boy to keep this secret. Later, when Lee Hyun-gyu is cleaning the kitchen, his friend says that now that he has found a student, someone who looks up to him, just like Lee Hyun-gyu did for him, he can now move and live somewhere else. But the man says he will forever keep his best friend company. While Lee Hyun-gyu talks about Na Ji-na to his friend, Mr. Cha receives a message from her asking him to come to his apartment, but the man says he can't at the moment. We see how their first kiss happened. The girl was waiting in the rain for Lee Hyun-gyu in front of her building after he no longer responded to her messages, and Mr. Cha, who at the time was not given that name, saw her crying, saying that he had never even kissed his friend. Then, out of pity, or suddenly another mixed feeling, he kissed her. A writer who is a client of the protagonist's company holds a meeting with her and tells her that she will stop with the novel she was writing, as she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, so she will prioritize her health. The woman preferred to tell it herself rather than leave it to a writer who will attend the CEO's return meeting that night, who will probably bring the matter to the table. And this actually happens later. This not-so-kind writer talks about how the woman's ex-husband left her because he was tired of taking care of her, and if he were the man, he would have done it a long time ago. Even more uncomfortable, the man says that Dong Jiang should be kinder to people so as not to end up alone and sick like the writer. This was the last straw for the protagonist, who decides to leave his place and tells everyone who only has 3 months to live, and then leaves. Dong Jiang tries his best to bring Mile Mang to her, but nothing works, and he ends up sleeping on the living room floor. The man appears when she is still asleep and recharges the bracelet, then puts a pillow under her head and leaves. When the protagonist wakes up and realizes that he was there, she gets very angry and decides to break the bracelet. We see Na Jina in the next scene helpless. She has just found out about Dong Jiang's illness and goes to the company office, where Mr. Cha calms her down and they talk about it. Due to the woman's nervous state, the man gives her a ride so that she doesn't drive. The protagonist ended up in the hospital and we see Mile Mang talking to her friend God. She says that the best thing is for him not to go see her, which is the right thing to do, and upon hearing these words the man decides to go after Dong Jiang. After she wakes up, the protagonist starts walking around the hospital, and when she sees Mile Mang, she says things to hurt him. However, he is only concerned about how she is and hugs her. Then he scolds her for taking off the bracelet, and in the end, she says that she will tell Dong Jiang everything. Mile Mang explains that all the bad things that marked the protagonist's life are to blame, and to his surprise, Dong Jiang alleviates it by saying that certain things needed to happen and that whoever is saying these things to him should say that for Dong Jiang, it's okay to be like this. Suddenly, the protagonist disappears, and Mile Mang looks for her everywhere but doesn't find her. When he bumps into Sun Jiang and says he is his only child, the man starts to believe that the woman's existence has been erased. Dong Jiang appears in a garden where God is. The girl says that she had planted a possibility in the flower pot that created a sprout with the protagonist suffering, and now, Mile Mang cares about someone more than himself. The woman tells Dong Jiang not to suffer anymore because of Mile Mang, and the protagonist says not to blame him, as she has never felt unhappy because of the man. After that, God releases Dong Jiang to return to his world, and the protagonist ends up at Mile Mang's door. She tells the man the entire conversation she had with the deity, and he says he was scared because no one remembered her. At the hospital, Sung Jiang doesn't want to let his sister go home, but Mile Mang convinces him that he's a doctor and it's okay for her to go. Na Jina also appears in the hospital room and goes in the car to the protagonist's house. The two of them, her friend and brother, are very worried and don't want to let go of the woman. However, she asks them to leave so she can rest with her. Mile Mang. When everyone is going home, Na Jina tells Sun Jiang that he has matured and that, in order to no longer go through things alone, she will share the burden with him, like another older sister. Returning to Dong Jiang, Mile Mang puts the bracelet back on his wrist and the two decide to continue living together. Later, the man talks to his friend God, and in the end, she says that the woman is already loving him, and even a love with no future remains love. The next day, the protagonist receives a call from that writer, who is also sick, and the two meet to talk. The woman says that after she found out that she was defended by Dong Jiang and that she had resigned, she also did the same and took her romances out of the company. Mile Mang is waiting for the protagonist after the meeting and gives her a surprise. When she says that she would have liked to enjoy the flowering trees more in spring if she knew it would be her last time, the man goes back in time so they can observe the flowers. The woman says that this brings back good memories when she was little. She remembers riding on a Ferris wheel with her brother and that it was a great family outing with her parents. Then Dong Jiang goes to Na Jina's house and asks her friend to treat her normally, like she always was, and forget that she is sick, and the two decide to have a sleepover. As soon as the girls wake up, Mr. Cha appears at Na Jina's apartment, and the protagonist finds out about the contract that her friend signed directly with the man. Soon, she leaves to leave the two alone. Mr. Cha looks like he's going to open up and tell Na Jina something to consider when suddenly her doorbell rings and it's Lee Hyun-gyu at her door. Mile Mang meets the protagonist on the street and gives her another surprise. The man returns on the day she said she had a great memory with her parents and leaves the girl emotional. When they talk again about the desire that Dong Jaeyoung still has to choose, she says that she already asked the man to fall in love with her, but he didn't grant her that, and Mile Mang tells her that she doesn't need to worry about that. The man adds that she might like him and that only the protagonist matters to him now. And their conversation is interrupted when the aunt who raised Dong Jaeyoung and her brother appears. What did you think of these episodes? I hope you enjoyed the summary. Leave your suggestions in the comments and subscribe. If you liked the video, like and share to help me. Until next time.